Hey there, and welcome to the Business of Business podcast. Here we are two daughters and their dad, seeking to inspire and educate you to follow your dreams of being in business by teaching you the business of being in business. The good, the bad, the humor are all parts of our unique perspective as an entrepreneurial family. Thanks for joining us. So grab a coffee, turn up the volume. Here we go. So my name is Staci Dempsey, and I am the daughter of Jack Dempsey and the sister to Jennifer Dempsey. And in my world, I am the wife, mother of two small children. I'm a business associate here at Dempsey, Weiss Associates. Been working in the insurance business now for the last 16 years. Been very blessed to work in the business with my family. I also am very heavily involved in the world of Meals on Wheels of Salem County. Really have devoted a lot of time and effort to the nonprofit world for the last 10 years. It's certainly been a labor of love, but something that has also brought a lot of meaning to my life, and certainly something that I enjoy. And so, Jack, we'll just toss it over to you to give you a brief intro.
Well, I'm Jack Dempsey. I'm general partner of Dempsey, Weiss Associates. I've been in the insurance and financial services industry for over 35 years. And over that period of time, I've had the good fortune of building a business, working with a lot of quality people to help us on this journey in our business, and I've been very fortunate to work with many excellent clients in their insurance and investment needs, and just feel very excited about this podcast and the plans for it, and working with my daughters on this, what I think is going to be a very informative and meaningful venture.
Absolutely. We're excited. Jennifer.
Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be here. My name's Jennifer Dempsey. I've been behind the chair in the beauty industry for 13 years. I am the owner of J.Faith Hair Studio. We just celebrated 3 years in business. I also am a single mom. My daughter's name is Eva Willow, and I'm just excited to talk about my journey, what I've learned through the last 13 years of being a woman in business, and just hoping to inspire young women to go after their dreams and reassure that, you know, everything that you want to do is absolutely possible if you set your mind to it.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. So, you know, when we got together, this is the business of business. And I know, Jack talked a little bit about it, but what we really want to talk about, our why. Why are we doing this? What do we see the benefits of it being? All of us work with clients. The three of us work with clients every day that work in multiple different types of industries. So we're doing the podcast of the business of business. And so, Jack, why don't you tell us a little bit about what our why is here on this podcast?
One of the things that I learned over my 35 years is when I first got into the insurance business, I just took the job really as a sales job, just learning how to go out and sell insurance. I never really thought about it as a business. And then as time went on and I began to get more clients and realized that, that there's a business side of what I do. And I remember realizing how ill-equipped I was to really start up a business. I was getting pretty good at selling insurance, but I really didn't have any real idea on how to support that through a business. And so much of how I did it over the course of years was just reading and kind of learning and making a lot of mistakes. And then 3 years ago, when Jennifer and I went into business together with her hair studio, and we began to talk about the challenges that she was facing in starting her business and growing her business. it just dawned on me that many of the things that she was struggling with are the same challenges that I deal with in my business. So it just really inspired me to think how many other people are out there who are skilled at something that they're passionate about, but are struggling with how to do it as a business. And I think that's really the goal of this podcast, in the business of business, to bring our experiences and insights to those who are trying to get their businesses up and running.
So Dad used an interesting word, ill-equipped, Jennifer. So starting 3 years ago, starting to actually plan a business, be in a business, would you use the same word, ill-equipped? And I'm interested to know what surprised you about being in business.
Everything surprised me about business. I think that a lot of the times, especially for me, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And starting with a craft, starting doing hair, I knew that if I wanted to be an entrepreneur and do it well, that I had to kind of go through the journey of learning how to do hair first and enjoying that journey before I took the next step. And when I took the next step of opening a business, the business punched me in the face.
Punched you in the face, knocked you down, but what happened? So what made you get back up? I mean, you say, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and that was my next question. So why did you want to be an entrepreneur?
I think that I was, again, my dad raised me in the entrepreneur lifestyle. Like I saw what he was doing and how he moved, and I think I was always drawn to it. And I can remember, Saturday morning dance classes and driving in the car with my dad and just talking about, his business. And I just always love the idea of being in business for yourself and just you making the rules and living the life that you truly wanted to live. And that was just something I always wanted to go at.
And so, Jack, what made you, when you started selling insurance and then you wanted to be in the business of selling insurance, what made the switch? What was like the light bulb? What was it that you said, this is what I want to do? Or was there one thing?
Yeah, I think really realizing that you can only do so much on your own. Many times, especially in sales careers, it'll get described as, you're in control of your own destiny, and the sky is the limit in terms of business and income, and that's true to an extent, and that extent is there's only so much of you until the point where you need to have people around you that can support future growth. And that's where I think it gets started, is how do I continue to grow, because there's just not enough of me to now continue to grow and support the business that I already have. And so I just realized that in order to grow, you needed to have that business side of things to start supporting future growth. So that was really, I think, for me, was kind of that aha moment.
Right. So Jennifer said she got punched in the face. What would be, would you say that you felt like you got punched in the face anywhere along the 35 years of being in this industry?
These schools are excellent, training you on how to be, a master plumber or carpenter or attorney or CPA, but they're not training you how to do it as a business. Right. That is very void out there in the education world. And so for me, it was just really stepping into, just starting to do it. I mean, quite frankly, I didn't really learn it and then go do it. I just started doing it and started learning how to do it, by trial and error and making mistakes. And quite frankly, after 35 years, I'm still getting punched around a little bit because, you're going to do that if you're going to continue to seek to grow a business.
Yeah, I think that that's what it comes down to when you are thinking about opening a business or going into business for yourself. I mean, I can go to school and learn step by step how to do a haircut, how to color someone's hair, but, you know, there's no direct path on how to open a business. Where do you start? What do you do? And, you know, when it was time for me to open a business, obviously I was lucky enough to have a father that was already an entrepreneur. But I think that's the message in general is, you know, you can learn how to be an insurance agent or be a hairstylist or be an accountant. But when you open a business, there's just no direct path. And I think that alone deters people from even wanting to jump into that.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you. There's, you know, world of unknown when people start thinking, oh, I want to be in business for myself and I want to be an entrepreneur. And let's face it, everywhere you go, there's a lot of, you know, you go to Instagram and there's these memes of, you know, I control my own life. The sky is the limit. There's a lot of inspirational and motivational things surrounding, you know, wherever we look on social media as far as being an entrepreneur. And really making it look like it's very glamorous at times. And yes, there are some real benefits of setting your own tone for your business and whatnot. So I'm interested to know what pressure or tension you feel in your business, whether it's on a daily basis. Is there pressure or tension that you feel from areas that people wouldn't necessarily even think that you would have pressure from?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I think one of the biggest challenges for business owners is people. I mean, to grow a business, you need people in most cases. You need a team. You need to start building a team. And that's very challenging. It's like the number one thing that you need to build a business is a team, and the number one challenge in business is having a team.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's probably where a lot of people can get stuck. You know, is how to do that, how to get started with that, how to afford to do that. I think is really a good place for us to spend some time on as we move into, you know, more of, you know, these types of conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. Jen, you were shaking your head as far as, yes, absolutely. When it comes to people and whatnot, what kind of pressures do you feel or on a regular basis? Kind of what keeps you up at night, if anything? I mean, you have a little baby, so sleep shouldn't be an issue, but
There's a lot of pressure. I think, you know, when you first open a business, there's a pressure of, you know, can I deliver? Can I deliver on the vision that I have? Can I deliver and really making this business what I want it to be? But I think recently the pressures that I've been struggling with are investments in general. You know, I feel like I think about it to the point where I'm dragging my feet. And I know I talked to my dad about this, you know, I'm looking to bring this new stylist on, and I'm promising her that she's going to make so much amount of money. And so what does that look like, and what does that feel like from me to bringing on a new product line, and the investment is $2,000, and you know, so the pressures of promising and making sure that you can deliver all around the business.
yeah, absolutely. When I was actually asked this question not too long ago in a little bit different language, but you know, we're sitting around the table, father, daughters, and I think one pressure that people don't expect you to have is that when you're in a family-owned business, or you're in a family where everybody owns their own business and you're collectively working together in some capacity, right? You and dad are working together and having conversations about business, but then there's also the conversations about life, right? And what's going on, personally outside of business. And, I'll often tell people that, it's wonderful working in a family business, right? It's wonderful having, siblings who have their own business and, are working hard. And although we will collectively come together to talk about business, what happens when we're disagreeing on the personal side, when, we're upset with each other because a holiday of we're getting together for a holiday and it didn't quite work out the way somebody wanted. And now I'm upset with Jennifer, but I still got to show up and talk to her about business. Or, Dad's not that happy with me right now, but we still got to show up Monday morning and not let that come across in any real capacity to the staff or to, other colleagues and things like that. Sometimes that is kind of like the unforeseen pressure of, I still got to show up regardless of what happened in that not so great, maybe conversation or somebody's.
It's an easy one, really. I mean, get over it, just get over it, because you can't allow those things in a family business or even in business. I mean, there's going to be disagreements. There's going to be differences of opinion and challenges like that. But you just have to work through it and then let it go and get back at it. You just can't linger, in any of those kind of things. So.
No, I totally agree with you. And I should finish by saying I think somehow, some way, we've kind of done a good job of doing that, along the way. Really not maybe thinking about it too much. I think, inadvertently.
Said, stop it. Stop it.
Or I'm like, right. Or I say, you know what? I'm just going to call into that meeting. I'm going to do a conference call. I'm not going to be there in person. But no, honestly, I will say, I think inadvertently, we have as a family and as a business been able to somehow, whether it's put things into compartments and say, all right, this is what happened then, but now we have to work on this. I think we've done a really good job at that without really having to think too much about it.
Let's just stay with that the tension. I think, again, when it comes to those of you that are trying to build a team out there, I think what's important, and it's hard, but what's important is to understand that when you bring people onto your team, everybody's different, and so we can want to establish maybe processes and rules around our business. But yeah, and those are important. I'm not saying that you don't do that, but you also have to take the time as a leader and the person that everybody's looking to as the owner of the business to understand who they are, what makes them tick, a little bit behind what's going on in their life, because we can kind of want everybody to come into the business saying, all right, shut everything else down. We just want you to think about our world, our work world, until you leave here, and it's just not realistic. So being able to develop the ability to understand where people are coming from, what's important to them, what motivates them, and then begin to build some processes that will feed into each individual in a way that they feel empowered.
Yeah, I agree. We were just talking about this in the salon over the weekend, talking about our culture, what we stand for. We were talking about non-negotiable systems that we have in place. But I always tell people that, as a leader, as the business owner, we have to try and meet people where they are. And we can't have this expectation that we have for every single person, because everyone plays a different role in what they bring to the team. So I think that as a team, we have an amazing culture, and everyone brings a different vibe in a different way, and that's okay.
Turning your passion or your hobby into a business. I know I have a handful of clients who they're working a 9-to-5, right? And they are also doing a hobby, or really like they're doing their business that they really want to devote all of their time to kind of on the side. So who should these people be going to as far as turning your passion and your hobby into a business?
Yeah, I think it's important that when you are looking to start any kind of business, that you have a mentor, right? You have someone that you can go to. And again, maybe you don't know them personally. Maybe you're listening to a podcast or listening to some kind of motivational video, but someone that has already set out and accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. I think that's key.
I agree. That's excellent. I think the other thing too, especially for people who are working other jobs, is to continue with the experiment. Because we do have people, a lot of people have these dreams and aspirations, but are in a position where they just can't, just go full bore 100% into business, and shouldn't. They should continue to experiment and maybe let the growth come a little slower. But I think Jennifer's point of finding a mentor and taking that time to build some skills in and around business, and just let that continue to grow and to the point where you feel like you can make a more robust move. For example, quitting your job and going at the business full time.
So what would you say was the first thing that you didn't know about your business before you took the leap to be in business?
I mean, I tell people all the time, especially I tell my accountant this because she forgets that I'm just a hairstylist, and a hairstylist that is working on being an entrepreneur, a better entrepreneur, a leader. So, of course, I felt confident in the craft and the actual doing hair, and everything else I had to learn. I'm still learning. I'm still learning about payroll and taxes, and I'm not, again, I don't know half the time what I'm doing, but it's a learning process. But saying that, what I'm trying to say is being confident in what you bring to the table, and knowing that you're not going to know everything about owning a business. You're going to make mistakes, but using them as a learning curve is what's key, because believe me, I would be lying if I didn't say in 3 years there weren't moments that I wanted to give up, right? And give up on, this is so hard, I'm not getting it, I'm not understanding it, I'm working harder than I've ever worked in my life, and
making less money,
and making a whole lot less money, and to that point, 3 years in business, I'm still investing money and time into it. And then I wake up the next day and look at myself in the mirror and say, but this is what I wanted to do. And, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, I remember saying, Dad, I want to open my own salon. And him saying, just keep working. It's not time yet. And I've been praying and hoping and working for this moment, and now I'm going to quit now? That makes no sense. So I think it's normal to, know that it's going to be hard, but if you really, really want it, it's always going to be worth it.
Absolutely. Jack, what do you think was the first thing that you didn't know about your business?
About the business of my business?
Your business.
Right.
All your business.
Yeah, again, I'll just go back to, staffing, building a team, how much work, training. And so I would just encourage people out there, first of all, when you're thinking about your business or your passion, determine what kind of workforce are you going to need? What kind of team are you going to need? So, for example, I mentioned in my case, I knew that I was going to have to hire people that would, over the course of time, have to get insurance licensed and other licenses, that there was going to be a pretty significant learning curve. about all types of insurance. I need to be hiring people that would be able to do that. And I had confidence would be able to do that. Jennifer, her business is the same. I mean, ultimately, she needs to hire people that went through school and got licensed and was open to learning and continued to learn and get that necessary experience. So other businesses or people who are wanting business, maybe their passion is to open a cafe, and so their workforce might be more younger people that's going to be not going to be there forever. So the turnover and the type of workforce, they just need to understand that they're going to be dealing with a younger workforce, and they're going to have turnover. So they shouldn't be surprised by that. And if you don't like working with those types of people, then maybe you need to not go into business, because that's just going to be a constant frustration with working, or learn how to work with that particular age group or workforce that would be common to your type of business. So I think that would be very helpful, because it really did take me by surprise how much time it took to get not just someone hired, but hired and up to where they could actually do their job each and every day with, not much more help from me.
Yeah, I talk to business owners, often, and I think they all have the same thing in common: is what is the hardest part about your business? And their answer is people, hiring employees, having employees. And people ask me that same question. And especially when you're in a business that you need talent, compared to, again, maybe you want to open a laundromat, right? We're talking about two different things in that instance.
Yeah, no, I'm loving this. I think this is definitely probably a hot topic for another podcast that we could really dive deep into all of this. I will chime in and say, you both are talking about people, and I can tell you in my nonprofit world, one of the challenges is, you would think in a nonprofit world, the mission is pretty clear, but in the nonprofit world, it's the challenge that I come across the most is really creating the culture and saying this is how we operate, whether funding is good or funding is not. And again, it goes back to people. So really, in your for-profit world, you guys are talking about people and needing them to have a certain amount of education or licensing and things like that. And in the nonprofit world, we are constantly talking about this is our culture, or this is what we want our culture to be. And we're working towards that. And that no matter if things are good or things are not so good, this is what we stick to day in and day out. And so it's just interesting as you both are talking about people, I'm sitting here going, in my nonprofit life, we talk about culture, and it all is surrounded about people. It's all about people. And so it's just, it's very interesting, again, how it all overlaps. So I think we've talked about some really great things here today. Hopefully we've given everyone kind of an overview of what our vision, as the three of us have, talked over the last couple of months, of where things overlap in business and what the idea of this podcast has been. And certainly we've already talked about some really, interesting things here that I think in future podcasts we can go much deeper into. So it's very, very exciting. I'm super stoked about it. So before we kind of head off, I want to ask you each, Jennifer, what's 3 things that make you happy right now?
My daughter, of course. My daughter. I'm super excited where the salon is right now. We brought on some new talent. We're talking about a new vision. We're getting ready to end this year. I'm excited about the new year and really elevating the experience, and my family, of course, and being in business with my family. Yes. How blessed are we, right?
So blessed. Jack?
Right now, yeah, same. Just being right here in this moment with my daughters and sharing these ideas and good business practices. I mean, this is very exciting. to be in this place right now. And I think really for me, after 35 years of doing what I've been doing, I'm more excited now about the future and business. There's so much coming down the pike with technology. I think entrepreneurship is going to just continue to grow. I think as people want to take control of their own lives and their own destiny, I think they're going to find that where in the past getting out of school and going to work for the big corporations seemed like the right thing to do, it was the safe thing to do, it was the stable thing to do. But I think what we're going to find is that's probably going to be the riskiest thing to do because they don't have any control over their future, where entrepreneurship will give them that control. So really, I'm just excited about what we're going to be doing here and helping people just launch, their dreams and their passions into a business.
Awesome. Amazing. Well, thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
We will close out podcast 001. And until next time, thanks, guys. We want to thank you for listening today. Please subscribe so you never miss an episode. Leave us a positive review. And we want to say thank you to our sponsors, Dempsey, Weiss Associates and J.Faith Hair Studio.